You got me thinking like, did you ever watch Seinfeld? Remember
No,
Seinfeld?
I did. I did a little bit.
The comedy? I think of
Yeah,
Kramer coming sliding in.
yes, that's what I felt like today. I did.
So, okay,
Yeah.
everybody, here's how this really works is Dr. Tiff, it was like countdown, countdown, countdown. And I'm looking at my watch going, are you coming in today? Are you coming in? And literally about 4 seconds before we went live, she slid in. She's here. Hi, Dr. Tiff.
I am. I am.
Folks, welcome to our live stream. My name is Jim, and this is Dr. Tiff, and this is Feel Great Live with Jim and Dr. Tiff, Dr. Tiff and Jim. Welcome to our live stream. You got that smile on your face.
Oh gosh.
Welcome to our live stream. So my name is Jim Grasser, and I used to be really, really sick, and I'll just start with that. I used to be really, really sick. I had a type 2 diabetes. I had a 12.2% A1C. I had really high, I would say, doctor, I don't want to embellish things. Is 459, that's for LDL, is that life-threatening? I mean, are those?
Yeah. We're worried about you then. We're really worried about you. Yes.
Okay. So life-threatening LDL levels, I mean, they're just not good. I was in bad shape, and I went on to the usual suspects, the usual pharmaceutical solutions. My good friend Ro refers to it as your starter pack. This is your starter pack. It was a statin, it was metformin, it was some blood pressure medication, and it was a GLP-1. Here you go. There's your starter pack. And I started it and thought that was what life was going to be like. Just take these for the rest of your life and be happy, count your blessings, and just don't break the rules again. That was kind of what I thought, So, and then I came across Feel Great System. And doctor, to say that it's saved my life or changed my life is an understatement. Absolute understatement. That would be the understatement of the millennium. I have reverse type 2 diabetes. I now have a completely unmedicated, and I always like to emphasize unmedicated 4.8%, because truthfully, when I was medicated, I was able to get my A1C down. I got it down. I didn't eat anything I liked. I hated eating food because it wasn't the stuff I liked. And I was very, very heavily medicated. I was on a max dose of Trulicity, the GLP-1, and I was on a max dose of metformin. And also taking stock in Charmin toilet paper, because that's what those are. And I was able to get it down pretty low. And people would say, wow, that's kind of a crazy thing. And I was like, man, it's not me. It's not me. I don't eat anything I like anymore. I don't enjoy the drinks, the food. I don't enjoy it anymore. And I'm on these massive hard-hitting drugs. And now when I say that I've reversed type 2 diabetes, I have a 4.8%, and it's completely unmedicated and has been since middle of February. I'm also off my statin medications. I'm off my blood pressure medications. I maintain blood pressures in the 120 to 130 over 80 to 90-ish. And I'll take that unmedicated. So anyway, that is my story. Dr. Tiffany, tell us about you.
All righty. Okay. So I still feel like Kramer sliding in. I know. I'm coming back in. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be here. I love doing these lives with Jim. Jim is one of my favorite people. And, that whole reversing the A1Cs to a 4.8%, who doesn't want to know this guy? I'm just saying. Okay, so my story. I hope that's not me lagging up. But my story, I'm actually a real physician. It is. Oh, that sucks. I'm a real physician who's been practicing family medicine for a good 20 years. And then I decided I want to learn more. I want to help my patients better. I want to be able to help them get off of medications whenever possible.
Oh, that is definitely you, Doc. I think that's you. Doc, are you there? I can't tell if that's Dr. Tiffany or me, your connection or my connection. I've got a hard wire into my internet, so I think I'm good on this end. Are you there? And there she goes. We're going to bring her back. Dr. Tiff is not gone forever. She'll be right back. I think we're having technical difficulties. That was on her side. Okay, while we're waiting for her to come back, we lost her. It's Dr. Tiff. We lost her. She'll be back. I promise. Dr. Tiff has joined. Here she is, coming back in.
Oh, goodness. Oh, man. Okay. Am I here?
Yeah, you're here.
Oh, man. I was in a rant, too. I was going. I was really going.
You are straight Kramer today.
Okay. But, okay. It's not good. It's not good. So, but you know what? Because I love seeing people get off their medication so much, because I love helping people with these natural products, I will do this and look like a complete loon if that's what it does. If it gets people to say, let me try those products, then I'm here. So, oh, cool. Yeah. And even my guest is playing Kramer today. It's just that day today. It's just that day.
It must be the Alabama crowd.
Oh, gosh. But I was able to get off my blood pressure medicine. I was able to help my brother get off his.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. Dr. Tiff is having some technical difficulties. I'm going to jump in. I'm just going to fill in because I think I'm pretty clear for everybody. I think my reception's pretty good so far, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and everybody, this is awesome. This is pure gold, and this is how we do. This is exactly how we adapt and overcome. So, okay, so here we go. If you are being invited to this, it's going to clearly, this one's going to be an entertaining one today. Clearly, this one's going to be entertaining. If you've been invited to this, as in if you got a notification saying come join this, that means that somebody thinks that you could benefit from the information that's going to be shared in this live stream, okay? So this live stream lasts an hour. At this current pace, we might go for an hour and 30 minutes. I'm just teasing. I'm looking at Dr. Tiff. I love you.
What, am I back?
No, you're back. You're back. You're just.
Oh, gosh. Well, thanks. Could tell somebody. Oh, Lord.
Oh, okay. So if you've been invited to this live stream by somebody, sit back and enjoy the show. I have a really good feeling tonight's going to be an awesome one. Sit back and enjoy it and learn something. So Dr. Tiffany is going to go through and explain to us a situation that's kind of affecting everybody and kind of give a solution towards that situation. The other thing is we got a couple of guests who are here tonight. Tonight, that was today and tonight put together. If you were curious, tonight. We got it's going to be that way. We've got a couple of guests here tonight, and I don't know who Dr. Tiff's is. I'm really excited to meet your guest, Dr. Tiff, and I'm really, really excited for you to meet mine. So without further ado, let's dive right into this. But before I do this real quick, if you've been invited into this and somebody, just listen to the live stream. This really will get really, really good. In fact, I really do think this is going to be a great one. More than that, if you are on the protocol, if you're taking the products and you want to tell somebody else about them, this is a perfect time to put them in front of Dr. Tiffany and some amazing testimonials. So if you were on Facebook or if you're on Instagram, just type the @ symbol and then start typing their name. And as you do that, it will eventually it'll populate their name, and that will be an invite to this. Hit enter. Once their name pops up, hit enter. If you're on YouTube, just share this YouTube with them. Just hit share and then send them text or whatever it may be. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever it is, Twitter, X, whatever now. We're live on Rumble. We're live on D Live, if you're familiar with D Live. In fact, this live stream goes out to like 15 different platforms every single week. And there are thousands upon thousands of eyeballs that see it. So if you're looking up at that people counter and saying, well, there's not a whole lot of people in here, It's probably your platform that you're on, but there are other platforms. And on Facebook, for instance, this is on 4 different channels of Facebook. So there are a lot of eyeballs on this. This is a great place to learn. And if you're excited about the products, you want to share it with somebody, this is a great place to share it. So anyway, Dr. Tiff, who's up first?
I don't know. Who should go first?
I'm excited about Josephine. Josephine. Okay, so I want to bring in Josephine. Now, here's the deal. Well, I'm going to let Josephine tell her story. Why am I going to talk? I asked Josephine to come out here. Josie, I always ask the question, how did we meet? Where was your health at when we met? And where is it at now? And be as descriptive as you can. Tell us your story, Josephine.
Okay, well, thanks for having me, first of all.
Thanks for coming.
We met back in 23. I actually needed to have my gallbladder removed, and my A1C was too high, so they would not operate. My sister was already on your program, so she told me to try it because she saw her numbers going down. So I tried it, and within, I think my A1C at the time was 12 point something. And within 2.5 months, not even 3 months, 2.5 months, my A1C went from a 12 to a 7.2.
Whoa.
So at that point, I was actually able to have my surgery. So I stayed on the program, and I have really high triglycerides pretty much all of my life, due to, it's inherited from my grandmother to my mother. So what ended up, everything dropped when I got on this program. And last year I was very sick. I got sick enough, like I had lung problems, and I ended up having to get off of the program. So until this past January, when I had my physical with my doctor, after being on all these breathing medications, again, my A1C was extremely high again. I think it was 11 at this point. My triglycerides were 2,103. So she immediately called me back into the office, wanted to put me on a statin. She wanted, start all this medication. So I asked her to please let me try, get back on my program, because, I had been off of it, to get back on my program, because the last time I was on it, she dropped all my medications. So as you were saying, it's really nice to be off of the medications. So she agreed. She did give me just the ones for my triglycerides. The fenofibrate, I believe it's called. So she told me just at least to take that just for now until my numbers started to drop. So this was in January 3rd. I have them right in front of me. My triglycerides went from 2,103. And this April 7th, they went down to 155 being on this program. So definitely, it works, obviously. At least, my numbers don't lie. My they couldn't even calculate my LDL because my triglycerides were that high. My cholesterol was over 300. It was 317, and it dropped to 170. So that's basically my story. I'm still not on any other medications. Instead of obviously the metformin, I was telling Jim I take it's called Feel Good Berberine. If you read the ingredients, and it's just as the metformin. For diabetes, I am type 2 diabetes. So it's it works.
What I love about this story, Josephine, and Dr. Tiffany, when I was talking to Josephine, I don't know, last week, I think. Though, I mean, 2 years. May will be 2 years. It's crazy to think that much time elapsed, And in talking to her, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like, at times we take things for granted, right? You forget, how effective it is. And you forget that maybe unless you do some drastic change in your diet, maybe we don't have it quite like we want to have it. And I love the fact that when you quit taking, I don't love the fact that this sounds awful when I say this. I don't love the fact that your numbers skyrocketed again. But what I love the fact is when the doctor said, hey, we need to put you on some medication, you kind of said, no, I've already got a solution that I know works. And you went back on it and voila, just like that again, a second time. I believe that is powerful. That's as powerful as they get, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Dr. Tiffany, what do you have to say to this?
I mean, wow. What y'all didn't see was me trying to reach for my pom-poms because I haven't put out my pom-poms, but going from over 1,000 triglycerides to what was the last number of the triglycerides?
They started at 2,000.
Oh, shut up.
It's at 155, which I know it should be under 150, so I'm 5 points over. But what as Jim was saying, our choice of foods, I am also once a week I meet with a live dietitian for an hour. So we go over, food choices. So as well as I'm taking the program, we do have to kind of still maintain our eating habits.
Oh, yes.
So in hand in hand, it's helped me a great deal.
Yeah, that is awesome.
The other thing I like about this story, Dr. Tiff, is her sister, Maria, is the one that found me on TikTok, not her.
Oh, okay.
And this really just emphasizes the power of, as the audience right now is typing the @ symbol and typing out a name and hitting enter, she's one of the people that listened. Right? She listened to her sister. She did not find me. Her sister found me, and her sister said, hey, I think this is amazing. You should give it a shot. And here we are today. I think this is, I've always loved the story. I love both sisters. I've gotten to know both of them very well over the last 2 years. So I've enjoyed this a lot. Josephine, do you mind if I shut your camera off, but kind of leave you backstage? I'd like to bring you back out at the end of the live stream. If anybody has any questions for you directly, do you mind kind of hanging out for us?
Yeah, sure. No problem. Okay.
You are a rock star. Dr. Tiffany, how do you feel about educating us? By the way, how cool is that?
Right? Cool. I mean, you thought your triglycerides were something. Okay.
And you guys didn't notice it. I've never been good for timing. I have shown this, I don't know, 300 times. This was a text thread. I put it up while she was giving her testimonial just now, but this was a text thread that she sent me back in, this was probably June or July of 2023. So this right here is and I've shown this a ton of times. In fact, a lot of people have seen that text thread. That's Josephine. That's her. This is just 2 years later. And so I wasn't very smooth when I put it up while she was talking, and I'm sifting through pictures, and that's just me. That's how again, this is going to be a wonderful live stream.
Oh gosh.
This one's hot. Yes. We are coming in hot tonight.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Okay.
Educate us.
Yes. It is awesome. So, you know what? I think people like to see that we're real people, right? Yeah. Okay.
Hey, I'm going with it.
Yeah. Okay. And we know how to pivot. Yes. Okay. So the problem we're dealing with is cardiometabolic health. And this is according to a Tufts University study. Now from 2022, it is, but only 7% of Americans actually have good cardiometabolic health. And I'm going to go into detail what that means. I mean, you have 1 in 3 adults who are actually having metabolic syndrome, and insulin resistance is right at the center of that. And then one of the medications that we've been prescribing, we as medical providers, to try to help this whole issue, statins, the number 1 prescribed medication in the country, right? It only helps people decrease their heart disease risk by 1 out of 100, 1%. But if you actually improve your lifestyle, make some changes, do some other things, use the tools we like, that actually amplifies your lifestyle, you can actually improve these issues by 39%. And so looking at diabetes, this is a growing epidemic. So back in 2022, 30.3 million people were diagnosed with type 2, well, actually diabetes, period. So that's 1 out of every 10 people, and 1 out of every 4 don't even know they have it, okay? And then your pre-diabetes, 84.1 million, so 1 out of 3 adults, but 9 out of 10 don't know they have it. That's why there's 93% of people struggling. And then the heart disease. The heart disease is just so disheartening. This is still the #1 killer, even with all the changes. People stopping smoking, people eating less fat because we started eating more processed foods. It did not help this problem. And so me, being a physician who wanted to change the world, I went into practice hoping that I can help everyone. You know, I was trying to help people with things, but I didn't really have the right tools or understand what to do. So I ended up really having my patients come in with all these medications and coming to see me like they're going for a weekend getaway, packing a bag, having a whole bag of medications, right? I didn't know enough to help them get to the root cause. And if we actually deal with the lifestyle changes and attack the root cause, they don't have to have all these meds. So I like to say our genetics are really like a land inheritance that we're given. So if you till this land appropriately, shoot, you can yield great fruit, great crops. But if you treat it like crap, your body like crap, well, you're probably gonna feel like crap. So the point is you're not bound by your genetics is the point, okay? Now, over half of all adults have insulin resistance, and that's at the root of all these issues: heart disease, diabetes, body fat, migraines, depression, dementia, erectile dysfunction, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and fatty liver. And this list isn't all inclusive. There's still more things. So it's important to see the symptoms ahead of time, because insulin resistance actually happens 10 to 20 years before you start getting some of those conditions I just showed earlier. So cravings for sugar or salty snacks, and that happens because your cells literally are not getting the glucose because they aren't responding to insulin. So your cells are hungry. So they're making you want to eat. And then you can get skin tags, and that's overgrowth of the skin on the skin, because insulin can act like a growth hormone. And it can do that with the dark patches too, because that's not dirt on the neck. Now, irregular menstrual cycles and polycystic ovarian syndrome that women can have, that's the leading cause of infertility, but it leads with the hair on the face, acne. Erectile dysfunction is the issue the men have, the man boobs, hormonal imbalances involving the thyroid. That actually plays a role in converting those thyroid hormones to the active form. And so, yes, actually improving the insulin resistance can help the thyroid disorder. And we actually had a great call with Kristen last week talking about that too. High visceral fat, high blood pressure, that fatigue after eating. So what is insulin resistance? First, let's deal with the hormone. Insulin is a hormone we all have. Our pancreas releases it. And it has a lot of functions, but we're going to talk about how it delivers energy. That's the glucose I'm talking about, into the cells. And it stores that excess energy as fat. It's there to regulate those blood sugar levels. So what causes insulin resistance? Well, insulin resistance is when your cell doesn't let that insulin in. I guess I missed a slide. But what causes it? Too much insulin in the bloodstream can cause insulin resistance, and insulin resistance can cause too much insulin in the bloodstream. It's an awful circle. What causes too much insulin? There's a number of things, but what we're going to focus on right now is the things we put in our mouth. But inflammation can affect this too. But what we can control is what we're putting in our mouth. So where does high insulin come from? Like I said, about 3/4 of what we're eating, this is a global nutrient database, are carbohydrates. And that's a macronutrient that really gets broken down into glucose. Okay, protein gets broken down into glucose a little bit, and fat is very negligible. Not much of that gets broken down into glucose at all. So when you wake up first thing in the morning, you've been sleeping all night. So pretty much you've been fasting. Unless you wake up in the middle of the night and snack, you haven't been eating all night, right? So if your last meal is at 8 o'clock at night and you wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, that's 12 hours of fasting. So your insulin is usually pretty low at that time. And then when you have your first meal, you know, the most important meal of the day, not. But if you're doing carb heavy meals, that's going to kick up your glucose level and thus your insulin level, because that's what insulin's job is. Then when you have a snack, and I mean, the reality is a lot of times we do eat a little bit more carbs than we should. Say you pick a carbohydrate snack because it's easy to do. A granola bar, you think you're doing something healthy, but what it does is it still kicks up your insulin level. And then lunch, you know, you try to get a sandwich, you know, a wrap. You really think you're doing good, but there is some carbohydrates in that, and that kicks up your insulin again. And then your afternoon snack, then your dinner, then your dessert. And you know what? Your insulin never has time to come back down. And so you're bathing your cells in that high insulin. And over time, much like my teenage son, your cells stop listening to the insulin. Just like my son stops listening to me. No, well, if I keep ranting about the same thing. But anyway, I would say, so the carbs, they have been stripped of the fiber, which is the problem with the carbohydrates we have. So we're not villainizing food here. But unfortunately, our carbohydrates that we're eating now aren't as helpful as they used to be. They aren't being wrapped in the fiber that they were supposed to come in. Okay. And why do we need the fiber? I had somebody on the live yesterday was like, you don't need the fiber. Well, that's fine. I like my fiber. It treats my trillion of bacteria in my gut, but that soluble fiber also breaks off into something that decreases inflammation. And the insoluble fiber cleans out the gut in order to help it regenerate those cells. So yeah, I like my fiber, but it helps also with maintaining, allowing you to feel full. So it helps with weight control. And then it curbs the carbohydrates that you eat, so your pancreas doesn't have to release as much insulin. So I do like to get people to feel like they're taken off the hook a little bit. It's not entirely your fault with some of these issues. Our modern food environment was really made to make us addictive. And those sugar levels are so high in these processed foods, anything that's packaged, boxed, or barcoded, the stuff in the middle of the grocery aisle, the stuff on the checkout counter area, all that stuff, none of that stuff is our friend, right? I like to call it big food because it's not even real food. And what it does is it kicks up your sugar so much that you end up releasing a dopamine response, and you can feel addicted to this stuff. That's why you feel like you can't eat just one, is because you probably feel like you can't. You've actually become addicted to these things. So how do we fix these issues? I mean, there's 5 things you can do without even looking at the products that I love. One is trying to do more of a low carbohydrate diet, a low glycemic diet, or I like to say it this way, because when you say those words, people are like, oh my gosh, she's trying to get me to stop doing carbs. Well, what you can do is you can just change the order. Eat protein first, eat your veggies first, and then by the time you get to the carbohydrates, you won't really want it anyway. And that way I win. And then when you do eat carbohydrates, trying to eat more of those low glycemic carbohydrates. And the X here, no processed carbohydrates at all. There's no diet that says that's okay. And then resistance training, because you want to get those muscles moving. They bring in the glucose. You get down into the glycogen stores. That's the storage of sugar. You want to get rid of that. And so that allows you to be able to tap into that. And you want to do that even on top of the walking you may do, or on top of your cardio. Okay. And then the high fiber. The high fiber is great. Just like I said, I like my fiber. But one, there's great studies on that. If you do 30 grams of fiber, it actually can compete with taking a statin. That's where the Mediterranean diet came from. Is because it's high in fiber. And then time-based eating, or really specifically intermittent fasting. That's when you actually miss a meal. And so doing that and not snacking gives your body time to heal. There's a natural healing process that happens when we stop eating. And when you can get past that 16 hours, that 16 to 72 hours, is called autophagy. This was actually found in 2016. He got the Nobel Prize for it and everything. And cellular cleanup happens here. You remove damaged cells and you improve repair processes. I mean, when you get those ketones that are high, you can actually repair neurons. There's so many helpful things that happen when you just stop eating. So what if there was something that made those 5 things easier? It is. 1, trying to boost your own GLP-1. Okay. We have people that have these shots that really bind to the receptors and act like they're GLP-1. But what if you can boost it naturally? It reduces the cravings, it improves digestion, and it balances blood sugar. Okay. And the shots, like I was talking about, they bind to the receptor and actually pretend like they're your GLP-1, but they're not. And they come with a bunch of baggage. They can cause thyroid cancer. They can cause gut paralysis, gut perforation, nausea, abdominal pain. Those things kind of suck. If you can boost it naturally without those symptoms, that would be more ideal to me. And then after 2 years, what happens is those cravings that it's supposed to help you with, it stops working as well. So you end up needing more medications, a higher dosage, or a different medication entirely. So why not look into boosting your GLP-1 naturally? And doing those 5 things I was talking about earlier, that will do that. But the tools we like even amplify that effect. So why am I sitting up here on social media with all my stuff not acting right today? There's great studies on these products. The science, the chlorogenic acid, the ferulic acid, the theobromine, the saponins, the short-chain fatty acids, the soluble fiber, all these things help boost your GLP-1 to where you can have those decrease in the carb cravings, decrease in the food cravings, and feel like you're full. And then we get stuff like this, like Jim was showing. We get people talking about their results every day, and it's the best thing ever. And we get all these other results. I mean, thousands of people with great results. And besides that, I'm going to keep showing this until it gets old. I feel like a superwoman. And you can too with your own health, but also by referring this and helping other people learn more about what we're doing. Oops, I gotta let go. I lost my thing to let go. Oh, Jim, help me.
Oh, you're good. Here, I'll do this. I can do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is. That day.
So I was actually just pulling up a couple of studies, doctor, and they are. You mentioned some of the side effects. Some of the side effects of those medications, and I wanted to bring these up because I think these are pretty powerful. What do some of those look like? So first off, can you see this screen right here? This is Mounjaro's website. You can see it okay, right? If you'll notice at the bottom, this is their homepage. At the very bottom, it says safety and summary with warnings. Mounjaro may cause tumors in the thyroid, including thyroid cancer. Okay, so there's that. And then if we go over to the PDR.net, that's the physician's desk reference. So this, if you guys remember, once upon a time, doctors would have a thick book on their desk. And while I think we're all going to agree that Dr. Tiffany is the smartest doctor ever on the planet, it would be completely unreasonable to expect her to memorize every single dosing consideration and every single contraindication and every single side effect and adverse reaction and every single, for every single medication that's ever been invented. That I think that would be complete. Unless, doctor, maybe I'm wrong. You got that memorized?
Nope.
And so what do? The doctors go to the physician's desk reference, the PDR, and here they can look up information about commonly prescribed medications like Ozempic. Okay, this is semaglutide. You can hit the summary of it, and you can scroll down and you can do your own research. Everybody has access to this. You should go down and check this out. But look, boxed warning: medullary thyroid carcinoma, multiple endocrine neoplasm syndrome type 2, and thyroid cancer, thyroid C-cell tumor. So what is the frequency? How often does this actually happen? Is it that big of a deal? Does it really happen? This study right here. Oh, did I have that? I did never put that on the PDR, did I? So you never actually saw. Dr. Tiff, you got to tell me when I'm not hitting the page. The physician's test. You can go down. Let me start over. I didn't realize that I didn't actually have it on the physician's desk reference. Can you see me? Yeah, you can see me. Okay.
I thought I was glitching again. My bad.
No, I think I am. I'm looking at two different pages. If you look up Ozempic, you can go to the information there. You can hit drug summary and then go down to boxed warning. And right there, that's the medullary thyroids. It tells you right there in the PDR. It also says it on their websites, every single one of them. And then you can go over here to nih.gov, PubMed. This is an official website of the United States government. Check this out. GLP-1 receptor agonists and the risk of thyroid cancer. And what they will tell you, the conclusions of this, they looked at nearly 45,000, over 45,000 subjects, and they found a 58% increase of thyroid cancer, increased risk of thyroid cancer, and a 78% increased risk of medullary thyroid cancer. Those are big numbers. Like, it's not like a little bit, and that might explain why it's on the freaking website, right? And then if we go just one step further, here's another one. Gastroparesis. Dr. Tiffany, would you just give a quick synopsis? What is it? What is gastroparesis?
Well, that's when your stomach doesn't do, so that the muscles in there are supposed to move stuff along. So they can become paralyzed, literally, stomach paralyzed. Gastroparesis.
You can't really reverse gastroparesis, correct?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. So this study right here, and you'll notice February of 2024, so it's relatively recent. And they found gastroparesis. 5.1% of the people on those medications got gastroparesis. That's 1 in 20 people. And so when you hear Dr. Tiffany say something like, yeah, there's an increased risk of, something like that, those are substantial. Those are real numbers. Those are real numbers. And I really do think that if people had the opportunity to learn those numbers, it might make them think twice about it. And especially when you know that you can increase GLP-1 with the food you eat.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Tiffany, tell us about your guest.
Yes. Okay. So, Miss Health Coach Sherry. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to see this lady. We've never met in person, but she's one of those people I've got to meet by way of Beverly. And, if Beverly stamps you, if Beverly is how I get to know you, these people are on fire. I love them. We already had fun before we even meet each other, but she's a life coach. I mean, she's a health coach. She's also a business consultant. I mean, she has her hands in so many things, but it's chosen, she loves these products. So I can't wait to hear your story.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love it. Love it. Love it. And what was taking place prior was it's life, it's life. And we are human beings. And it's okay. It's okay. But again, thank you guys for inviting me on to share a little bit about my story. My story and journey is a little different. Okay. Um, let's see here. I'm going to get through this without, forgive me if a tear drops, but my story is with my family, my family's in a health crisis journey. Okay. Very small family. My oldest brother passed away May two, uh, 2013 of a heart attack at 44 years old. My dad, United States Marine, passed away 2019 due to a storm of illnesses after his service, including uh, PTSD, diabetes, Agent Orange exposure, amputation, blindness, kidney failure. He too went on dialysis, arthritis, mental health struggles. So I will never ever forget when he told me there's too much sickness in his body. And he was holding my hand while he was telling me how he was feeling. And he had no quality of life. So that pretty much cracked me open right there at that time as well. Um, Fast forward, my mom passed away of kidney failure.
Wow.
Sorry, guys. Stage 4. Um, Passed away 2022. Um, that same year, 2 of her sisters passed away. Yeah, it was a lot that year. And then I have my youngest brother who is living with progressive MS for 18 years now, wheelchair bound, absolutely no quality of life. Um, and as you see, all these, it's still, I look at it as grief that turned me into
Mm-hmm.
grit,
Mm-hmm.
determination. Um,
Yeah.
whew, I'm sorry. But as my family, as I was visiting them, their health continued to decline as I watched them go through all of uh, their health issues at the time. Even they even bullied me as I went on my journey, and I'll get to that in a second. So I went on to become the fitness and wellness professional that I am, 30 years plus in the health, wellness, fitness, banking world. So after giving birth to my son in 1992, I saw a picture of myself when I returned from a trip in Minnesota. And at that time, my son was 10 months old. And while I should have been happy mom, celebrating and everything, I saw a woman in the mirror, myself, on the edge of burnout, tired, heavy, afraid. And I knew right then, if I didn't reclaim my body, my mind, and my lifestyle, I was headed down the same path of sickness and suffering. Um, that moment, that became my pivot. That became my pivot. And then with the words that my dad expressed to me on his last days, I should say. So I became obsessed not with so much vanity, but vitality, if that
Yes.
makes sense. So what I did was I immersed myself into education. I studied the body. I love the body. The body is freaking amazing, and how it can repair itself. It can feed off the fat. How about that? um, I studied the body, metabolic health before I even know this, and starting in
Wow.
October. And I'm really huge on, and has been, with the power of prevention. I'm all about some prevention, some plant-based something, and it makes sense. The science behind, and the, the science behind it. That's another thing which I learned, because I will sit and diagnose, or not diagnose, but I will sit and just read
Mhm.
labels and see what that word means and that. And it's just like, marketing it's a good strategy, but it's business. Everything is
Mhm.
business, right? So, I'm
No,
sorry,
you're
guys.
awesome.
Um, what I didn't want to do was manage illness. I wanted to avoid it, right? And I wanted to help others to come along and to break that generational cycle, to say, you don't have to deal with this. You have a decision, not a choice. And there's a difference between a decision and a choice. I didn't choose. I made a decision to take ownership of my life. So over the next 3 decades, I built a career that defined categories. I became a trusted corporate banker, helping people, helping people build, manage
Mhm.
their wealth, and while at the same time quietly studying wellness and health behind the scenes. That has led me, um, which I've led hundreds of people. Yeah, going through. I was also a Weight Watcher leader, so I had tons and tons of people in my meetings. I became a Weight Watcher life coach, personal trainer for 10 years. Worked with Nike as a Nike marathon run and walking coach. That was through the Team and Training Leukemia Lymphoma Society out there in New Jersey. Um, I was a Pilates instructor for 1 year, and currently a health coach, a lean health coach, which I do educate on lifestyle, exercise, attitude, nutrition. Um, my focus wasn't just fitness; it was
Mhm.
freedom for me. It was freedom for me. And then, like I said, in October, once I learned about this, what I call it, my how do I call it? My powerful way to flood my body with these superfoods, these plants, with the one daily practice, because I'm busy. Everybody's busy. I'm busy. So it made it made sense to me, is, the protocol with drop it in water. And I'm sure one of you guys want to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about that and go. That worked for me, coming out of menopause, also with the adrenal fatigue. Yes, you can overexert yourself with exercise. I was there, and my body was just like, "Huh, you need to stop. You need to stop." All my internal stuff, I knew, because I'm really in tune into my body, so I knew something was off. But in October, when my friend Jennifer suggested it to me, I said, okay, I did a little research and got back to her when I noticed I was out of it. And I said, oh, hey, send me some of that
Mhm.
stuff. And then that's where, because I'm still learning it. I'm still learning. But at the same time, I have better workout recovery. Again, no more adrenal
That's
fatigue,
good.
decrease the inflammation that was in my body, because over the years that I was a marathon runner, I mean 26.2, and me as a coach, I if my role was to get the people across the line. If someone didn't come in, I had to go back out there. So that could have been like 30 or 40 miles.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. And every now and then you hear like a knee pop or something. It's just like, okay, what in the world? But anyway,
That's awesome.
that has helped me. That has helped me, with the inflammation. Of course, with more energy. I'm a very energetic person, but more
Yes.
energy. Um, Skincare, it helps me with my skin. Um, yes, and I'm very huge on prevention. I educate on prevention so it doesn't, others don't have to experience the grief of your loved ones. And you just pretty much watch them deteriorate in front of you when you have something that's very powerful. Is food, is plant
Yeah.
based, is it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing, and I'm so glad to be in
I
the circle
wanted
with you
to
guys. Thank you
show
so much.
something here, and I mean, your family has been
Through a lot.
through a
And thank
lot.
you for sharing all of
Through a
that
lot.
too, Sherry.
Yeah. I
Yes.
wanted to show something.
Thank
You mentioned multiple sclerosis with your brother. It's debilitating with him at this point.
Yeah.
18 years he's wheelchair bound. And I did actually a post on this. And for those of you that don't know, really, that's the me that I like to geek out on that kind of stuff. I like to find the connections. And I did. It's been a while back. I did a post on exactly that. Let me see here. I'm going to hit share this screen. This study right here, this was published in June of 2024, and it's the association between insulin resistance and multiple sclerosis. Now, this is a systematic review and meta-analysis. This looks at all of the research done. And let me think. Let me see. The meta-analysis revealed a significant association between insulin resistance, insulin, and multiple sclerosis, with stronger associations in studies that recruited mixed patients. So what we're learning is that there is a connection between those two. There's a lot of research that has to be done still, but that's a systematic review and meta-analysis of randomized clinical trials. Now, I also did a research, a post, it's been a while ago, where they talked about a ketogenic diet with multiple sclerosis patients, and how basically what you're doing is exactly what Dr. Tiff said. You're removing the carbohydrates, that lowers the insulin and allows for resense. And there are some amazing effects. Now, observing, I have seen a number of people start this system that have MS, and they have had amazing results. And I'm going to fall way short of making any sort of claims whatsoever.
Yeah.
But if your brother should be on this system.
Yeah.
He should be on this system and pair it with something, look into it and pair it with a ketogenic diet. What I want to do, Sherry, that was a beautiful story, beautiful testimonial. Thank you. I want to turn your camera off. I want to jump in and run through how to use the products. And then I'd like to bring you back out here, if you wouldn't mind, in case anybody has any questions directly for you. And I don't know if you're noticing all of the love that you're getting in the comment section. Will that work for you, Sherry?
Yes.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So what I'm going to do something I don't normally do that I always think I want to do. And of course, I always run out. I don't got enough time to go through the science. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through how to use the products. Okay. And I'm going to reemphasize that if you've been tagged into this, if you've watched this and you're thinking, hey man, I think I want to try this stuff, just get with the person who invited you here and they will tell you how to order it. If this is something that you want to share, invite them here. And when they decide they want to order it, they'll get with you. You'll get a product discount. That's the way that this thing works. It works off of referrals. So get with the person who invited you here. If by chance you stumbled across Dr. Tiffany and me, just get with either one of us. Dr. Tiff, where can they find you?
Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
Dr. Tiffany Marie. And then you can find me as the Healthy Pit Master on every platform. Just send either one of us a message and we'll get you pointed in the right direction. Now, with that being said, what I wanted to do that I don't normally do is I want to ask the audience to give us a testimonial. I don't want anybody to embellish anything. I don't want anybody to go crazy. But if you wouldn't mind, if you are on these products, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a little example of what the products have done for you since you started. And I'm going to start highlighting those as I go through. Actually, Dr. Tiffany, are you able to highlight the comments up there, or do I have to do it from my end? No big deal if you can't.
I think you have to do that. I don't have that power.
Here is the deal. We have 2 different flavors of Unimate tea. Now, Unimate tea, it's a yerba mate extract, and yerba mate is it's a tea that's been pretty widely consumed in South America for the last 500 to 1,000 years. It's been pretty heavily industrialized in the United States for the last half century or the last century or so, 120 years. Now, yerba mate is very high in a polyphenol, a particular polyphenol, and I should say it's very high in a lot of things: mate saponins, antioxidants, theobromine, but one in particular is called chlorogenic acid. Now, chlorogenic acid has been shown to reduce inflammation. We just heard Sherry talking about inflammation. Chlorogenic acid is an anti-inflammatory. Chlorogenic acid acts in a similar way to metformin. It's a novel insulin sensitizer that potentiates insulin action, similar to the therapeutic action of metformin. It lowers blood pressure. It's been shown to cause statistically significant reductions in both systolic and diastolic blood pressures. And if anybody wants any of that proof, I will gladly show you the studies. I'm holding back because in light of the amount of time left, but chlorogenic acid is absolutely amazing. In fact, there's some studies, some research that suggests that it induces GLP-1 production. And so we want to consume more and more and more chlorogenic acid. Well, chlorogenic acid is one of the most abundant polyphenols on earth, and you find those in vegetation, things like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, teas, coffees. It is exceptionally abundant in yerba mate. So what Unicity does is they take yerba mate, the same leaf, it's still hand harvested from the original farmers in South America. They're not trying to do some GMO experiment in North America. They're still buying the leaves from those original farmers, and they still fire roast them in a very similar way to the way that it's always been done. And then they stop the traditional process and they extract the good things that we want, like the chlorogenic acid and the theobromine and the mate saponins and then the antioxidants. They extract those and they concentrate them. After they've done that, then they purify it. They get rid of the things that we don't want, the heavy metals, the pesticides, that sort of thing, and they package it. Now, in the United States, this package sells for $2.25. All that bang for $2.25. What do? We drink 2 of them per day. That costs $4.50. I think you'd have a hard time buying a Lipton iced tea for that price.
Mm-hmm.
And considering what you'll get for that, this tea is just absolutely amazing. Now, if you take that $4.50 and you drag it out over 30 days and say you bought 2 per day every day for 30 days, that would cost you $135. At Unicity, we call that the booster pack. That is the cheapest way to buy this product, $135. Now, let's talk about Balance. Balance is a patented blend of 7 different plant-based fibers, and it's paired with a multivitamin. In fact, it has 410% of your recommended daily intake of B6, 90% of your daily folate equivalent of B9, and then 1,040% of your B12. It is a multivitamin. It's got vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin B. It's chromium. It's got all of these, riboflavin, niacin, and it's paired with this blend of fiber. Now, that particular blend has been shown to cause statistical reductions in LDL cholesterol. It lowers total cholesterol. They've seen improvements in HDL cholesterol. In fact, it was studied at the Cleveland Clinic here in the United States. That is the top heart hospital in the United States. If you're unfamiliar with them, they invented the heart stent. Like, they know a thing or two about hearts. So the Cleveland Clinic did what they call a double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. It was peer-reviewed. It was published, and it's been cited more than 20 times. Now, that study found that Balance could potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. That is a quote.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering. Dr. Tiffany, what is a lipid-lowering prescription drug?
Mm-hmm. The number one drug being prescribed, a statin. I mean, there's other ones, but that's it.
So the top heart hospital in the United States suggested that this could potentially decrease the need and or dose for statins. Now, what do? How does this work? By the way, when you pair it with the $135 purchase, the booster pack of this, that means that you pay $24 for this. Pretty dang reasonable.
Yeah.
The 2 of them together, it's a $159 kit. Costs $159 per month. Now, do you have to take it for the rest of your life? No, not at all. Take it until you get the results. In fact, if you give them 90 days, they'll give you if you're not satisfied after 3 months, 90 days, they'll give you all of your money back. They do accept HSA and FSA. That's a big deal. HSA cards, if you have an HSA or an FSA account, you can use those funds to purchase it. They also accept, you can use Klarna, you can use PayPal, you can use all sorts. There was another one recently that I saw, but there are many different ways that you can do this. But at the end of the day, think of it like $2.25 twice per day, and then add in a $24 fiber. That's $159. Costs a little over $5 a day. You can't drive through Starbucks for $5 a day.
No.
So, what am I missing, Dr. Tiffany? The way that it works, you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you do is you drink your tea. They're going to send you a bottle like this. We call it the diamond bottle. They're going to send you one of these. It's got a line for the tea and it's got a line for the fiber. You can fill this up with cold water, mix it in there. I'll tell you what, I haven't used this for my tea in a very long time because I have a big Yeti thermos, the 30-ounce tumbler. I filled this up with hot water. I've got a kettle, specifically 130-degree water. That's what I like. I fill it up with 130 degrees in one packet, and it'll take me 2 to 3 hours to sip this. When it's gone, I do it again. Sometimes I do it hot. Sometimes I do it cold. The biggest thing is to sip on it. Sip on it. You'll find appetite suppression. You'll hear everybody talking about an amazing boost of energy, mental clarity. Do you remember what it was like to not have brain fog? That is one of the first things that people say is, wow, I'm just crisp. I feel like I'm sharp.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do that. And then before your heaviest meal of the day, you take the balance, you fill this up to the balance line with cold water this time. Cold water. Don't do it with hot water. That's a mistake you'll make one time. Cold water. You shake it up. Don't overshake it. Again, that's a mistake you'll make one time. Just, 7 or 8 vigorous shakes, and then take the lid off and down the hatch as quick as you can drink that right before you eat.
Yep.
The orange one tastes like an Orange Julius. The mixed berry one tastes like a Jolly Rancher. Doc, is that reasonable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is the system. What I want to do is I want to go through some of these testimonials real quick, but I want to bring the ladies back in, and I'm going to ask people to ask questions. Feel free to ask questions, but I want to go through. And Dr. Tiffany, if you wouldn't mind, let me know if a question comes in. I'm going to back up a little bit. Let me know if there's any questions that I need to jump over to, but I want to get to some of these testimonials. Tanya says, I've lost 45 pounds, lowered my blood pressure. I have no more joint pain from lupus. That's just names. Let's see. 3.5 years, major gastrointestinal problems, cholesterol, blood pressure, trauma, anxiety, off all meds. Free of gastrointestinal problems, 45 pounds lost, still going strong, 8 months in. I recently lost a skin tag, down 20 pounds, waist went from a 46 to a 39. Feel great. That's a common theme. Feel great. When I first started this, I thought that was the corniest name ever. It is the most appropriate name ever. Only been on the program for 60 days. Rhonda says, I've lost 29 pounds since October 31st. No more migraines caused by insulin resistance. No more acid reflux. No more tingling in my feet. Joint pain is lessening, and I feel better than I have felt in years. Lindy, off diabetes meds, reversed neuropathy. That's 2 in a row. Neuropathy. Off the BiPAP machine. Feel like I'm 20 again. Another common theme. Feels like I'm 20. Lost 60 pounds more energy. Reversed my fatty liver, inflammation, and pain. 50 pounds down. Gave me back my health. That's a powerful one right there.
Yes.
No longer pre-diabetic. Cholesterol numbers improved. Energy increased. Joint pain decreased. 45 pounds gone. In less than 2 months, A1C dropped from 15 point. Wow.
Yeah.
In less than 2 months, A1C dropped from 15.4 to 9.9 and is dropping. My inflammation is nearly non-existent now. It is amazing. It's been amazing. That is pretty powerful.
Yes.
I saved $250 to $350 a month on this protocol. That's interesting.
Yeah.
When you cut out the snacking,
Yeah.
Kim says, best stuff ever. Best stuff ever. Well, Kim is from Mississippi, and I've met Kim in person, and I can hear her accent saying this. You know, when you can hear the accent. Best stuff ever. Loving it and life now. I still have a long way to go, but with the help of these products, I'm going to make it. Alfredo, no more ED. There's an interesting one. Do you
That's
know
a good one.
who suffer from erectile dysfunction? No more ED, no more migraines, lost 30 pounds, feel great. Johnny, down 30 pounds, lost 5.5 inches on my waist, off the CPAP machine. Content, guys, they're going to keep on going. There are a lot of people that are having absolutely amazing results here. We are at the end of this live stream. I didn't see any questions come in. That's why I kept on reading them. Coach Sherry, I want to ask you a question that I love to ask at the end of every one of these live streams. There are a lot of people who are very skeptical. They see this and they think, whatever this thing, what is this thing? This is too good to be true, blah, blah, blah. It's just a money-making scheme. It's a gimmick. It's a this, it's a that. Guys, read the comments. It's not a gimmick. This is a real thing. We got a real doctor here. Sherry, what do you say to that skeptic? Give me 30 seconds. What would you say to that person if you were to talk to them right now and know that they're listening to you right now?
30 seconds. Your health is definitely your wealth. You cannot put a price on it, period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to go over real quick. I forgot about, we're live on TikTok and the TikTok comments don't show up here. So I wanted to read some comments from TikTok. Robin over on TikTok says, balance is a lifesaver. The best 100, let's see. Down 8 pounds in 2 weeks. Okay, must have just started. I've been on the field grade system for 2 weeks now, and my glucose was over 308 and higher, and it is now ranged between 85 and 120, depending on the time of day. Down 8 pounds in 2 weeks. That is absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Robin, for that testimonial. Keith, who's been on it now for quite a while. Actually, Keith was one of our guests here about August of last year. The best $159 I could ever spend. Robin goes on to say, my arthritis, I didn't even notice until the other said something. I don't feel any pain anymore. Neuropathy in the hands and feet are getting better. Okay. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. Josie, what would you say to that skeptic in the audience right now who's watching thinking that this is too good to be true? It's fake. This is a phony thing. What do you say to them?
Pretty much that numbers don't lie. I did it twice and I got the same results, and it's, worth taking a shot. I mean, it's like, I forgot who the other person is that was talking. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but she said it's your life. It's your body, give it a shot. What do you have to lose?
I love that. And a part of your story that I absolutely love, and it's something I think we have to do, is allow ourselves grace. And I hear people say that, and I want to emphasize that. Every now and then you decide, hey, I want to do something different. And if it doesn't work out like you wanted it to, just give yourself grace. You're fine. Get back on track and we're good. I'm so happy to have you back on the system, Josephine. I'm so happy to have your help. Give Maria my love. And health coach Sherry, ladies, thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful week, and I really, really appreciate you guys coming on here.
Thank you.
Gals.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Tiffany. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was a cool one.
Yeah, it was.
They're always good. I love them. I always love them. That was really, really powerful. What do you say, Doc? What do you say to those people that are skeptics sitting there wondering?
Yeah. So I want to hurry and say something before I get glitchy. Okay. Hope I didn't get glitchy already. Okay. So okay, good. I'm so paranoid I'm gonna get glitchy. I like stop every time. Okay. So no, if you're sitting at home not taking any medications at all, and you really don't know what to do, you don't know what changes to make, these products actually help transition people. It's like what I think helps my couch potatoes now decide they want to run a marathon. It's what allows people to make the right choices. It turns off the carb cravings and the food noise. And then on top of that, there's a 90-day money back guarantee. So don't sit home being on somebody's list as someone who passed too soon. I'm tired of it. My father passed after his third stroke 20 years ago. So if I knew now what I knew then, oh my gosh, that's backwards. You see what happens when you're glitchy? But the point is, that's why we're here, to help people that are sitting there struggling, just like my father, just like Sherry's family, because you don't have to struggle.
I love it. And what do I say? I'm going to say the same thing that I say every single week. You have absolutely nothing to lose, everything to gain. Give this thing a 90-day mindset. Go into it with a 90-day mindset. Get with the person who invited you here. Again, get with the person who invited you here. If you stumbled across this, as in you just came across this live stream, get with either Dr. Tiffany or I. We will get you sorted out. We'll get you pointed in the right direction. Yeah. Let's get healthy together, guys. There's no need.
Yes.
If you are broken, I love this quote. It's a Selena Gomez quote, and I couldn't pick Selena out to save my life. She could walk by me on the street and I wouldn't know it was her. But I have a quote that I love that she says, and it goes, if you are broken, you don't have to stay broken. I love the quote. See you, everyone. Thank you very much. Y'all have a wonderful week. We'll see you next Wednesday.